What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Now today is not going to be a very long video. This is basically just our video for people who requested it, and also for people that just want to build a pond. Basically what I'm going to be talking about and showing you guys is basically like how I built this pond and what it took to actually build this pond and how much everything costed. So let's get right into it. This pond is roughly about 350 to 400 gallons. This pond is just for cold water fish. There's two fish in there. It's a largemouth bass and just a big bluegill. They're up under the piece of driftwood, which is kind of hard to see, but it's right there. Especially the liner that I used on here was 10 by 13 foot liner, which at Lowe's that costs about 60 bucks. So that's your first thing you're gonna need. Now your second thing is obviously filtration. Now there's basically 3 to 4 main things that you need for this, unless you already have the tubing or the spillway, which is right over there. You're gonna need a pump, which the pump I have in here is, I believe, about a 300 gallon per hour pump. The real thick tubing right there, it runs underground up there and back here to the filter, which is just a pressurized filter. This is 80 bucks at Lowe's. It goes around the other tube and it goes back to the spillway right there, which is 25. That's basically your main stuff right there that you're gonna need to build a pond, and that all together is about $225 without tax. That is your liner, your pump, your tubing, your filter, and your spillway. Obviously the spillway is not mandatory, and you may already have the tubing, so that does take off about $45 if you have both of those things. Now if you look right there, there's ripples coming up. That is a circulation pump, just to have more circulation in the pond, and it goes in a round fashion just like that. That is a 1,200 gallon per hour pump, and that is basically just for tanks actually, but you can get one for ponds, but the ones for ponds are typically a little bit more. So that, I believe, is only about $20 to $25 if you want to add that onto that, but it is good to have it in there just to have more circulation in the pond. Now all these big rocks that you see around the pond, these are all rocks that I have myself over there in a big pile. Well, you may not have these. You may have to buy these, and these can cost you a good bit. This type of rock will cost you a lot. You do not have to have this type of rock, but I'm just saying this could actually cost you a good bit if you don't already have it. Now the pond really depends on if it's going to be for cold water species or if it's going to be for exotic. Now this pond is just for cold water species, stuff like that's really native here, like bass, bluegill, gar, and all that. But if it's going to be for exotics, which I really wouldn't recommend if you live kind of, you know, if you don't live in like the southern states. But if you are going to make it an exotic pond, you're going to have a heater, and that will bump up your price anywhere from about 40 to 50 to maybe 60 bucks. Now obviously this is not an aquascape pond, but you want to make this thing look as good as you can with the things that you have. Now this actually used to be a turtle pond right here. If you want to see how I built that or how to build your own turtle pond, you can go watch the video. I'll put it at the end of this video. But I made a lot of mistakes. That pond is the first pond I ever actually built. With the second pond, I took a lot more time with it and actually really focused on detail, making sure the edges were straight so that way, you know, you could see a lot less liner. Using a lot bigger rocks around the pond. Before, the rocks I used around the turtle pond, which it was about twice as small as this, were just those little rocks up there that line the creek up there. Those are the ones that that line the turtle pond. But now that I got these big rocks around the big pond, it makes it look a lot better. You don't have to use as many of them. And you notice you don't see much liner. The only liner that you see is really on the edges, and you really have to look close to it to actually see it. And that's because, well, if you make your edges as straight as you can when you're digging this pond, that's how you can make that happen. And also there's like a slope right here. This section of the pond is only about 8 to 10 inches deep to a foot, and that over there is about 2.5 feet. As you can see right there at that black line where that is liner right there, that's where it comes up, and the fish do like to sit at that right there and also come up here and swim around. There's also this light right here, which is not really mandatory. I just like to put this on here just at night because it really lights up the whole entire pond, even outside of the pond, but you do not have to have a light on your pond. Around the pond and in the pond is pea gravel and a little bit of river pebbles. For a 20 or 25 pound bag of that at Lowe's, it's only about $3.50, so that's not too bad, but I did use about 15 bags of it on here, and I still need a little bit more. So that can cost 40 to 50 bucks as well. There's also a big piece of driftwood in there. You do not have to have that. You can build like a big rock cave with like the rocks that you have. If you really want to plant it around the pond, I only have 2 types of plants around the pond, just some little elephant ears and some Mexican tulips back there. But if you really want to deck it out and make it look really, really nice, that's also an additional charge. But for just all the main things that you actually need and you're going to have to build a pond, for a pond this size, it'll end up coming out to about $300 without tax. Of course, that depends on if you already have some of the stuff, if you're going to need a heater. If you want to see how I actually built this pond, I will put it right at the end of this video, along with how to build your own turtle pond. And that's pretty much it. I've had this pond for about 2 to 3 months now, and I gotta say, I actually really, really like it. Now I'm going to be getting some more fish for this goat and catching the gar for it, and probably even like some type of colder species of catfish, whether it be like a bullhead or a small channel. But for the most part, it'll just have a few fish in there. Now I'm also, in about a month from now, getting a pool pond, which will be on my porch, and that will be for exotics. It'll be heated and all that, and holy cow, the wind's really blowing now. But yeah, I can't wait to get that, but that will be the next actual pond thing that I get. Be sure to drop a like on the video if you guys enjoyed today's quick little short video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at fishing_PS. With that being said, guys, I'll catch y'all in the next video.